All right, I would like to welcome you to this evening's version of Are You Well, the wellness workshop that we come to you every month, talking about different things around your wellness. And this time we're going to talk to making your workspace work for you. My name's Judy. I'm the wellness liaison at the Rush Wellness, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the center later on in the talk. We had both of our occupational therapy guests put together this wonderful PowerPoint, and Eugenia is going to be our speaker, our guest speaker today. And then we will also have Manny from the fitness center talk to us a little bit later on as well. So I'm happy to welcome you and make sure that you're muted. And let's go to the next slide. Thank you. So just to give you an oversight, kind of an overview of what we're doing this year is we usually come to you at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday and the following Wednesday at 6. But for this month and next month, for your schedules, we have adapted to do both of them in the same day. So hopefully that'll work, especially the December one, so that you're not in the middle of finals. So that's kind of good. So you can look at the different topics. We always record them, so they are on the Rush Wellness website. So you're able to go to there and watch any of them that you want, last year and this year. And looking forward to talking to you about uncertainty in December and about food in January. So I think that's good. So, all right. So I think we can go ahead and get started with our kind of relaxing and kind of settling in. So you've been busy, you might have had dinner, you might be rushing in. So I'd like you to just sit back in your chair, put your feet flat on the ground, hands in your lap. And I'd like you to take 3 deep breaths, in through your nose, out through your mouth. If you've had a frazzled day, put your hand over your heart while you're doing that, because that kind of brings down the cortisol in your brain. That kind of slows you down. Also thinking about the green-gray of outside, that's very calming for your brain. So if you have a picture in your office or your room that has green-gray, your eyes will connect with the blue, but your brain will be calmed by the green and the gray. So that's what you want. And especially during the day, if you have that opportunity to look outside and take 3 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, it's a really nice way to calm down. All right. So as you settle in, what I'd like you to do is soften your gaze, roll your shoulders back so you're kind of stretched out a little bit. And if you can close your eyes, that's great. And just listen to my voice. I'd like you to think of a person who's been kind to you. Could be a grandparent, a teacher, a parent, a partner, a friend, even a beloved pet. Allow yourself to feel this kindness and this warmth. Imagine this person or this being gazing at you with understanding, kindness, and compassion. Imagine this person wishing you well, sending you a blessing, possibly saying these words: may you be safe and protected. May you be healthy. May you be held in kindness and compassion. Take a deep breath. And then let's stretch. Hands out in front of you so you round your back. Over your head, grab one wrist and pull to the side. Grab the other wrist and pull. Put your hands behind your back. We'll talk about your shrimp posture over your computer later on. Open up your chest, take a good deep breath, and then shake it out. All right, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. I am so excited to see you all here and talk to you a little bit about how you can make your workplace work for you. My name is Evgenia Popova, and my short Russian name is Zhenya. And my co-pilot for this presentation was not able to join me, but I will channel all of her positivity and knowledge of posture as I go through this. I'm an occupational therapist. I work in early intervention outside of my full-time gig here teaching in the occupational therapy doctorate program. In early intervention, I primarily work with the babies. So I know a lot about ergonomics for little children and then their parents who are trying to keep up with the little ones. And Bridget, my co-presenter who's not able to make it, here today works in physical disabilities, and both of us have been exploring the mental health side of those settings and thinking about how can we support health and wellness in occupational therapy practitioners, and especially our students. I don't know about you all. In occupational therapy, we're seeing a growing and a very concerning rise of burnout, overwhelm, and decreased professional quality of life in practitioners. And we're also starting to see these trends creep up more and more for our students, so really early in their career. So that's kind of what made us come into the space of thinking about wellness, not only what can we do, but how can we support folks in designing environments that support them, right? Because we can do all the right things, but if we're not in the right space, including our workspace, there's only so much that we can change. So thinking about today's presentation, I'm excited to share with you all some strategies and hope that you will walk out with a little bit of an expanded toolbox for your wellness in your workspace. We'll begin with a little bit of background and some research, then I'll share some tools, and throughout I'll ask you some reflection and change strategies. I have my chat open and easily seen, so please feel free to chat in or respond to whatever is being shared. We can keep this conversational, and you don't have to go on camera if you don't want to. Feel free to talk to me through chat. I'll be keeping an eye on it. But overall, we're going to be thinking about how do we create a space where we're able to take care of ourselves so that we can care for others. We know on an airplane, right, we always put on that mask on ourselves before we help out others around us. So that's kind of going to be the topic of today. We know uncomfortable workspaces when we see it. I'm sure many of us would have a little bit of a visceral reaction to seeing this chair and thinking about sitting in it. We also know that when it comes to graduate students and healthcare practitioners, we're at a higher risk for injury, pain, musculoskeletal disorders. A lot of it very much grounded in some of the ergonomic factors that are around us. We also know that ergonomic education and very simple adaptations to our spaces can positively impact our body awareness, prevent pain, and reduce computer-related discomfort, which is huge, right? Like just thinking about from the research practical standpoint, technically speaking, the hour that you're investing tonight into thinking about it is going to be making you less likely to experience pain in the future. And that is tremendous. We love that. We also know that in healthcare workers, injuries tend to be underreported. So a lot of us tend to dismiss our pain and our discomfort. And oftentimes that happens when folks experience lower psychological safety or emotional exhaustion. So if you're feeling more burnt out, more overwhelmed, or if your spaces are not friendly enough for you to be able to express your concerns, you're at a higher risk of injury. So that's something to think about as well. These types of training can create more psychological safety, help people reflect on what's going on around them. So thinking through this, Bridget and I think about ergonomics. A lot of times folks think of ergonomics from a furniture standpoint, right? You have like a great ergonomic chair. Or the ergonomics of this desk are terrible. But really, within the dictionary definition, ergonomics goes way beyond that. And a simple definition of ergonomics is thinking about the efficiency of our working spaces, our environments. So as you look around and reflect on where you're sitting right now, right? Like check out your office, or you might be in a car, you might be on a train, you might be in bed. In that case, I'm envious. I'm in my rush office, right? So looking around and thinking about how is the efficiency of your space? How's the efficiency of what you're sitting in? Is it supporting your physical well-being? What's the efficiency of your desk? Do you have enough room for your legs? Do you have enough room for your stuff? How's your lighting conditions, right? You can see in my office, I tend to use more of a dimmer light situation. I don't have natural light, and I've invested a good bit of time into figuring out my whole lighting situation to keep it friendlier on my eyes. We can also look at the ergonomics of your actual work task. So even something as simple as email can have an impact on our physical body. Think about getting a bummer of an email in your email box, or you're trying to respond something and Outlook keeps on going off. Ding, ding, ding. It will likely make you physically uncomfortable. You might scrunch up, your shoulders might go up, right? So thinking about the influence of what we're doing as well, thinking about the influence of our body and how our body responds to the social interactions around us. Today, this afternoon, before I jumped on this call, someone came in and just randomly gave me a gift. They're like, I found these crayons in my office and it made me think of you and I wanted to give them to you. And I'm like, wow, right? I went from small to big. We can have a physical response to that. And of course, our mental state, thinking about when those days where you just wake up on a wrong foot, right? Thinking about that as well. So throughout this presentation, I'm going to be challenging you to reflect not just on your physical space ergonomics, but also the ergonomics of your social space, the activities that you do in the workspace that you're at, and how does that impact your body, your mind, your spirit, right? I know all of your spirits are alive and well because you're here with me at 6 p.m., which is amazing. You're tremendous. So I wanted to give you maybe about like 30 seconds or so to just look around and like be present in your body and think about what's working for you, what's not working. Maybe there's something that you might change. Thinking about if your body's feeling comfortable. I just, for example, looked around and I was like, oh yeah, lavender. Maybe I should spritz, There you go. This presentation is about to get better. Yeah, you're going to have an immediate impact on your environment. Okay, so now that you've had a chance to check in, let's think about what's going on around you. When we're thinking about your workspace working for you, the number one thing where we have to begin is our own body awareness. If you're not aware of how your body is feeling and the impact your environment is having on your body, it's going to be really hard for you to make adjustments to your workstation. So number one thing is thinking about how can you use your body mechanics to support the most optimal position within your body. Of course, we're going to begin with a neutral spine. So thinking about how's your spine positioned, is your pelvis neutral or slightly forward? A lot of us start to lean back, right? And tilt our pelvis back toward the end of the day. So thinking about, are we sitting up in a way that allows our pelvis to be in the neutral or slightly forward position? We want to have a tall spine. So imagine having a button on your head or a really awesome top hat. You're going to try and squish that top hat against the ceiling, right? And get as high as you can. And then breathe out, relax. That should pull you into that tall spine position. And shoulders back and down. So thinking about raising your shoulders up, rolling them back, and then relaxing. Yeah. So again, pelvis slightly forward, tall spine, pushing your top hat into the ceiling, rolling your shoulders back and down. Breathe out. And here we go. Nice tall posture. Spine is not enough, however, right? We want to have a flexible and strong spine, but we also want to have a really strong core. And I don't know about you all, but graduate school did a number on my core strength with all the sedentary work that I've had to do. So thinking about remembering to engage our core, embracing our core, one of the best cues that you can think of is like, imagine that someone is about to punch you in the stomach, really intense, right? So you want to brace your core, flex those muscles, and then breathe out. And that should give you that gentle engagement where you have a little bit of an engagement in your core, but it's not totally flexed and scrunched up. So at this point, your body should be feeling like you moved some shoulders. Your back should be feeling pretty straight and up. And your core should be gently engaged. Any thoughts or questions before we move on? No? Everyone is like hyper aware of their posture now. Get ready. It's going to get even more so. So thinking about checking in on your workspace, the way that our workspace is set up can very much make an impact on how we're feeling. So toward the end of the day, you might be sitting all scrunched up and thinking, why does my back hurt so much? But you're looking like a little cozy shrimp because your chair was not uniquely designed for the shrimp body posture that you needed. Yeah. So let's think about what can you do in terms of your workspace and how it can be better fit for you. When we're thinking about mindfulness, when we're thinking about self-care, the big thing that comes to mind is feeling grounded. So we'll begin in thinking about our feet. So go ahead and raise some awareness to your feet, wiggle your toes, and then think about where you're sitting. Are your feet supported? That's number one. Sometimes our feet dangle, right? My feet dangle when I'm on the CTA bus, for example, not the best posture. For our knees, we want to make sure our knees are about at a 90-degree angle and are slightly further out from your body, right? So 90 or a little further out. You don't want to scrunch up. You want to keep a nice L or a little bit further out. And then hips also at about a 90-degree angle. So you'll see this theme of 90-degree. Wherever you can keep that a little bit of an L shape in your body, that's going to be the best route to go. And this one is something that we don't often think about, but your seat pan should end at about 3 inches from the back of your knees. So when you're sitting in a chair, you should have just a little bit of that room between the edge of your chair and your knee, and the back of your knees. And if toward the end of the workday, the back of your knees are sore or you're feeling like your legs are falling asleep, chances are you got to sit a little bit further out. And if your chair does not support that, you may want to consider a cushion or something else so that your back is supported and your knees are not losing access to the blood flow that you very much need throughout the day. So that's a little bit about our feet. Any thoughts or questions on feet? Feeling good about our feet? Great. What if you're short? Excellent question. The best tip there is to see if you can invest in a chair that allows you to bring it up and down. Of course, the desk would be a limitation, right? A limiting factor there. In that case, one thing that you can do that I've done is invest in a little stepping stool or a raised board for your feet to help your feet stay supported. That also works quite well for those of us that like our feet, our hips in a little bit more flexed position or raised. That tends to help me out a good bit. So having a little bench can be helpful. The back of the knees, yes, it is more difficult. So you may want to think about, is there something that you can do to raise your feet up from the ground, either a bench or, believe it or not, they still deliver phone books once in a while. So there's no shame in taking some phone books and duct taping those together to make yourself a little DIY bench. And then if you're like me, I have short legs. It's always either my feet are dangling or my back is really far out from the chair. You may want to do a combination of a bench plus like a pillow or some kind of a lumbar support cushion in a back to give you that extra support. Great questions. Did I answer the questions that came in? Okay. Oops, got too excited. I forgot about 2 other body parts. Arms, hands and arms. Arms should be at a side. So you can wiggle your arms around and kind of lay them at your side comfortably. Elbows, again, looking at that 90-degree angle, and wrists at neutral. So a neutral position. A lot of us use the mouse throughout the day, and that might have you deviate to the side. You want to avoid this, this motion, staying in neutral. You don't want to get too flexed or too extended as well. So thinking about using a towel roll or some kind of keyboard support to help your hands feel comfortable. You also want to make sure that your monitor is about an arm's length away. So a nice test if you're at a computer right now is you can try and poke me. And if you can't poke my nose, you're probably good. Yeah. So making sure that you can't touch the screen of your computer when you're sitting in front of it. And we already talked a little bit about the back and maintaining that natural curve of the spine. You want to make sure that your head is over your shoulders and that you are avoiding this posture that a lot of us go into, right? This kind of like duck sort of thing that happens when our computer is a little too far away or too close to us. So again, thinking about squishing that top hat can help you out with that. Your chin should be slightly down. Some of us will flex really far down as we're looking at our laptops, for example. If you're like me, you actually hyperextend. For some reason, I tend to do this. I don't know why. So toward the end of the day, if you sneak into my office, you'll probably see me doing one of these like Nosferatu vampire posture things, which is not so good. So kind of keeping an eye out on what your chin is doing, and then eyes, keeping your eyes leveled with the top of your monitor is a great idea too. It can help you stay consistent in terms of where your eyes are looking. So I'll pause here for any questions or thoughts before we move on. Talked about head, shoulders, knees, and toes. The pediatric side of me had to come out.
I think paying attention to where your arms are and what your wrists are doing is really important, because a lot of times when we're using laptops, our are bent back instead of straight out. And so just adjusting the arms or the seat a little bit higher so that you can become level with the countertop and the desktop, I think that was a really good piece of advice.
Yeah, thank you. Another thing to think about is sometimes we start to lean into our desk or our laptop. You might find yourself toward the end of the day to see like little lines, pressure lines. You want to avoid that as well. Spaceship looking mouse. Oh, yes, we're going to be looking at ergonomic keyboards and mice. And I would say that yes, and make sure to test it out that the way that the engineers designed it actually works for your hands. So with anything that's kind of ergonomic devices, you want to test it out before investing in it. At least that's my recommendation, but we'll talk more about that, Raquel. It seems impossible. That is a beautiful segue in what we're going to be talking. A laptop is not an ergonomic device. It's a nice portable device, but it's not ergonomic. So let's move into how to make it more ergonomic. Yeah, because I do love my laptop. But one more thing before we do that is two more things to think about environmental changes and like building some habits that can help your physical body and mind. One of the big things that we experience with computers is eye strain. So making sure that we're using text that works for us, right? Maybe using larger text. For me, I actually have to go the smaller text route because of how my visual accommodation works. Checking in and seeing if there's a lot of glare to our screen and maybe investing in better blinds, right? Or shifting the angle of where we're sitting. For example, when I first, during the pandemic, I noticed that I was getting a lot of headaches. It made sense because I literally had sun shining right into my eyeballs. And I was not aware of that until about like a month in. I'm like, what's going on? Why does my head hurt so bad? There's also technology to help limit glare, such as screen protectors and different pieces of equipment that you can actually put on your laptop or your monitor screen that can limit glare as well. It is also important to take breaks, despite what productivity demands will tell us. So thinking about taking those breaks, what is recommended is the 20-20-20 rule for vision breaks. So every 20 minutes, looking at something 20 feet away for about 20 seconds tends to do the trick. And if you want to upgrade it for yourself, taking a little walking break or standing break is a great idea in that as well. And then physical strain, we talked about that in terms of contact stress. So if you're finding sore spots or if you're leaning into something that doesn't work for you, making sure to adjust that. Movement breaks, varying up our position, making sure we're not getting stuck in one position or the other. And then also keeping items within close reach. Sometimes you might notice that you're reaching too far, or like find yourself in a weird position because you're reaching for a specific, like for your phone or something like that. Making sure capitalizing on the spaces that you have around you. So thinking about laptops and making it really hard for us to stay in a good ergonomic space. If you're a laptop user, these are definitely pieces of technology that you want to consider. Having an external keyboard and a mouse can be an ergonomic lifesaver. It is very hard to keep that ergonomic position if you have to keep your keyboard close to you and down on a table. So investing in external keyboard and a mouse that allows you to be an arm's length away from your laptop, that allows you to vary up your arm position and posture is a great route to go. I'm seeing more and more folks investing in laptop risers or lap desk. In fact, if you're at Rush, there's someone taking a call at Starbucks right now who has the most beautiful ergonomic setup. She's got an ergonomic mouse, an ergonomic keyboard, and a laptop riser all set up at at the little coffee table at Starbucks downstairs. So thinking about the laptop riser and helping you be more at an eye level with the screen, the keyboard allowing you to have a more comfortable position for your hands. Oh, Katie saw her too, right? And then she had one of those really fancy adapted keyboards that you can see over here that are a little bit raised. They can help you maintain more of a neutral stance for your wrist. One thing to watch out there, though, is that sometimes it raises your hand a little too high. And then what you end up doing is prepping your arm on your table like this. Yeah. And that becomes not so helpful either. So just watch out for those like little body tricks and nuances. And then keyboard trays are great as well. Sometimes our keyboards are too high, right? And if your keyboard is too high, your shoulders will scrunch up, right? Or you might get these like really cute, but not ergonomically friendly T-Rex arms, right? So having a keyboard tray to bring your arms down can be a really helpful route to go as well. Last but not least, our feet staying grounded. The footstool is tremendous for those of us that need a little bit of a boost to get up from the ground. And if you tend to stand a lot or use a standing desk, an anti-fatigue mat can be a really good idea. A lot of us that use a standing desk will actually end up, oh my gosh, and I blanked out on all the words. Anyways, we tend to stiffen our legs, or we might lean into one hip or the other and start doing weird things with our spine. An anti-fatigue mat can help you with that so that you're maintaining a neutral spine, neutral pelvis, and not locking in your knees. That's a big one too. Thoughts or questions on these tools? One question you might be having is like, wow, that looks great, but that also looks like $1,000 worth of equipment. And if that's you, then guess what? Helpful no-cost options. If you need to raise your laptop using some books, those of us that have been through graduate school, there's probably a couple of books here and there that we might be able to use as a nice laptop stand. If not, boxes, shoe boxes are awesome. Shoe boxes are a great way to go, or binders, especially if you tend to write a lot or like jot down notes. A helpful strategy is to turn a binder that you have into a slant board to give you more of a neutral position for your wrist. So binders work great as little slant boards. Yoga blocks can work quite well to prop your feet up from the ground. And of course, pillows and towels for any type of support. So thinking about adding a little towel roll under your wrist to maintain that neutral position, or using a pillow to protect the curvature of your spine if you're sitting a little far away. There's also some fun devices out there that are becoming more commonplace. So for example, this summer, I've just invested in one of these triangle pillows for my body, and it's been tremendous. It's amazing. I love to work on my laptop on a couch, and this has been really great. You know, I can prop up. I have a little rest, like a lap rest for my laptop. Just works out beautifully. Beyond these fancy pieces, something to think about too is just additional considerations for mental health promotion. So thinking about your workspace, are there opportunities for you to remind yourself to practice self-compassion and positive self-affirmation, right? Like even something as small as keeping those thank you letters that someone might have written to you, right? Keeping that on a wall, or a little friendly note to yourself. Is there spaces for rest and reflection in your office? I've been spending a lot of time in my office at Rush, and I've started investing in these fake little succulents that I literally jam in between the wall and my desk. So it looks like there is a succulent garden growing out of my desk. It gives me something to look at, something peaceful to look at when I'm stressed out. Can you integrate gratitude practice into your daily routine? I have this very bizarre habit that whenever I leave my office, I go, goodbye, office. Thank you. I love it. Makes me feel happy. And then social connectedness, reminders to add to our social support network, right? Making sure we have those buddies to go and grab a coffee with, or even a little walk. One of my coworkers and I, we just like went for a 15-minute walk around Rush, and it was awesome. Fresh air, got moving a little bit. And thinking about boundaries as well. A lot of us in healthcare, we have very loose boundaries because we want to help people, right? We want to be available. We want to be there for them. And communication is making that more and more difficult because we're ever connected, right? So thinking about using technology to our advantage to stay connected, but also using technology to communicate boundaries, right? Or respect folks' boundaries. So making sure that we know that it's okay for us to silence our phone. It's okay for us to close out of Outlook. Yeah. And it's okay to have different channels of communication. Like, for example, I use Teams for work conversation, but then if I want to have more of a social conversation with a coworker, I'll probably text them. I'm not going to keep it on Teams because I have that like boundary for my own brain, right? Knowing when to switch on, switch off. So that brings us to our final reflection within this topic. So I want to give you about 30 seconds or so to think through and think through this question. How do you make your workspace work for you? This is something that we can talk about. I think we have a couple of minutes to pause for discussion after this. Thinking about, what do you love about your workspace? What do you wish to change about your workspace? Is it possible? If it's not possible, is there something else that you can amp up, right? That will help you out instead. For example, I found myself to be ever so distracted by office noises ever since the silence of the pandemic. So I just invested in some earplugs, and those have been awesome. So in the presentation, you'll find some ergonomic resources, but we have about 5 minutes or so to chat and reflect, and I can answer any questions as well. Oh, yes. Let me stop sharing so I can see you all. Yes, Katie is saying the workspace is functional, but not very decorative, comforting. That is something to think about, right? Like for me, I've kept my office as like a little bit of safe haven of nonsense, quite honestly. I have a lot of things that just help me feel good. Let me see the most recent one I got. Oh yeah, I love this one. My new coffee cup says that I'm a people person. Yeah, not at 6 a.m., but at 6 p.m., definitely a people person. So it's a good one.
I had two thoughts. One, we talked earlier about Zorro circles and how your desk space is very different to your brain, whether it's cluttered or you have open space. And that's from a book called The Happiness Advantage. And it has a section about Zorro circles. And that's
Mhm.
where you would clear off even just like a 1-by-1 area on your desk and protect it. Don't let anything go in it. And your brain actually will want you to enlarge that circle. And pretty soon you'll be pretty proud of the way your desk will look because it will be clear. And the other thought was we were talking about the 20-20-20 rule about taking a break. Your body actually does need to physically get up and move at least every 90 minutes, if not every hour. So if you did it every hour, that's kind of nice because when you come back, you reset your posture. Because you find after working an hour, you are kind of all crunched over, that little shrimp thing. So as you come back to sit down, you start out fresh again. And so that's just a really good thing for your brain because again, it'll be less distracting for you. You'll be more focused because you've had the break and you're in good posture. So I think going on with all that you're saying, it's such good stuff and we need to be able to think about it. So taking that regular break will allow you to reset yourself and do that.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And thinking about when I set up my office, I very intentionally set up, I have a U desk, which I'm very grateful for because I have one space that's visually busy because I do have a little bit of that ADHD mind where like I just need to wonder. I need my brain to wonder. I need a lot of things to look at. But then sometimes I also do get overwhelmed. So I have one space that's completely cleared and one space that's extremely visually busy. You can even see it here, right? Empty,
Yeah.
not empty. But it allows me to kind of pick and choose of does my brain need a little bit of a oomph or does it need to like simmer down? There's a question in a chat about a particular wireless keyboard that I would recommend. I don't have a specific recommendation, but one recommendation I will give you is to avoid purchasing a keyboard online and instead going to Best Buy and actually testing out some, seeing what feels good. And then you can go on Amazon and get your, whatever, Cyber Monday deals, right? Once you tested it out. But I highly recommend going to the store and actually testing out the mouse, testing out the keyboard before you commit to it, because they are also ergonomically different. And do know that there's so many different keyboards out there. For example, I love like I'm a very heavy writer and it's really easy for me to lose track of what my fingers are doing on a keyboard. I don't have very good awareness of my hands. So at home, I actually use a mechanical keyboard that gives me more of that input when I push on it and has this little click that my husband hates and I love. So so thinking about different options for keyboards as well and kind of investing in a one that works for you. Mine at home lights up, it clicks, and it's small, and I love it. I can get a lot of grant writing and manuscripts out of it while annoying my husband. So win-win. Okay, I think we're at time for me, but I can take any other questions and I'm going to throw my email in the chat. So if you ever want to email, please do. And I actually got to head out to run a board meeting for a nonprofit that I'm part of, but it was super duper awesome to be here with you all and be a little bit more aware of my own posture.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Your skill and your knowledge is very much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, everyone.
So
Bye.
we are, bye. And we're actually going to ask Manny to unmute because he is from the Rush Fitness Center and he's going to set up this video that we're going to watch, very short video. And if any of you are able to get up and do these 4 stretches that he's going to show, I think it would be wonderful. You'd feel really good about that. So Manny, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Judy.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Manny. I'm the operations manager over at the Rush Fitness Center. Joe, who is no longer here, he's actually in this video performing a stretch demonstration with one of our awesome fitness specialists, Alika. So Judy, when you're ready, you can go ahead and hit play.
Yep.
And then I'll be around for any questions.
Okay.
Hey guys, my name is Joe, and this is Lika, and we work at the Rush Fitness Center. We're coming here to you today to demonstrate some stretches that you'll be able to do when you find yourself sitting for a long period of time. These stretches are going to help improve your overall function as well as decrease back pain. Before Lika goes through these demonstrations of the exercises, what I want to do is highlight what these stretches are made to do. So the four core muscles that attach to your pelvis push and pull on your pelvis depending on if you're sitting for a long period of time, if the musculature is weak, or anything like that. Your abdomen attaches to the front of your pelvis, as well as the hip flexors coming from the interior end. The hamstrings attached to the back, as well as the back extensors. We're going to go over all four of those musculature groups and show you a demonstration and a stretch for each. The first one we're going to be doing is the hip flexor stretch. So Lika's going to get down to the ground. She's going to put one leg forward in front of the other, much like a lunge. She's going to put her hands over her head and lean on back. This is going to stretch this hip flexor muscle, allowing it for it to become a little bit more malleable and a little bit more pliant. She's going to hold each stretch for 20 to 30 seconds and then switch legs. Make sure you breathe during all of these stretches. The next one she's going to be doing is a hamstring stretch. Standing up, Lika's going to put her right foot over her left foot, and then she's going to reach down to touch her toes. This will help stretch the hamstring musculature and make sure you breathe during this entirety of the exercise. After 20 to 30 seconds, she's going to switch feet and stretch everything out. Perfect. The third exercise is going to see her stretching out her abdomen musculature. She's going to lay flat on the ground, have her hands just by her shoulders, and almost do a push-up while leaving her hips on the ground. Looking upwards, this is going to stretch the abdomen musculature, which will help improve overall function and reduce back pain. Finally, from there, she's going to push her hips back, bring her knees forward, and sit on back, extending her arms. This will help elongate her back extensors, improving her lower back function. All these exercises should be done about every hour. Do a set or so per musculature group and hold each stretch for 20 to 30 seconds, remembering to breathe throughout the entirety of this stretch. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Lika or any other fine team members here at the Rush Fitness Center. See you soon.
That was really great. And I'm thinking, how amazing would that be if we actually could every hour do something like that? But if you can't do it every hour, at least do it before and after you're going to sit down and do a heavy study period so that you at least set yourself up in a good position. Manny, do you want to go over some of the things about the fitness center?
Yeah, so the Rush Fitness Center is actually located at the newer student and staff parking garage over off of Paulina and Flournoy Street. It's right next door to that loading dock. I'm sure you guys have seen that giant load zone that's off of Paulina Street, but our entrance is right next door to that. And we offer memberships to both employees and students. Employee rate is $39 a month. And we can charge that via debit or a credit card, or just off of a card or off of your payroll deduction. And then we also have a tier 2 rate for employees that make under $18 an hour. That'll be $27 a month, and the same thing off of a credit or debit card, or just off of your payroll every month. And then our student rate is actually $27 a month as well. And with that, we can charge just via credit or debit card. With that, you get the entire facility. So group exercise classes that go on Monday through Friday, some as early as 6 a.m. And then we got a number of lunchtime classes and evening classes as well. Locker room usage, towel service, and then a number of free weight and cardio equipment as well. And then we also do offer personal training, and that is a separate charge. So feel free to stop by. We also offer 1 week passes. So if you guys are unsure about joining the fitness center, but maybe you want to test it out for a week, see the different times that are busy, we can offer you that as well.
If anybody has any questions for Manny, or if you had any experience at the fitness center, go ahead and share that information.
Yeah, I just put a quick question in the chat. Wanting to know, my name is Natasha. wanting to know if there's parking near the fitness center.
It's actually above the student and employee parking. It's actually the student and faculty garage is actually above the fitness center. So either the regular Rush garage or the newer student and employee parking garage is right there.
Thank you. So would there be an additional cost? So if I pay to park at a different lot on campus, would there be an additional fee for parking if I was moving my vehicle?
Yeah, if you don't have the transponder, that's, I'm thinking you're saying you're paying per visit when you come to work. If you're part-time, that's probably what you do. Then you would pay if you moved your car to a different lot, yes. Actually the one that is for students and employees is transponder only versus the older Rush parking garage, the 9-story garage. Oh, thank you, Katie, for talking about the personal trainer. That's good. Recommend him. That's good.
Yeah. Randy is actually no longer at the fitness center, but he still does work at Rush across the street. So I still see him a few times a week. He'll stop by and whatnot. But yeah, Randy has been one of our longtime trainers there since the center opened back in 2014. So that's awesome to hear that he still got a reputation all these years later.
Good. All right. Thank you so much, Manny, for being here. I know you're going to stay on a little bit. So if anybody wants to put any other questions in the chat about that, we'll pick them up as they come in.
Yeah, for sure.
To share a little bit about the Wellness Center, that there actually is a physical plant for the Center for Clinical Wellness. It's across in the Triangle building on the first floor. It is small but mighty. It was built on philanthropic dollars so that we had a physical space as well as all the virtual work that we do and in person over on the units and in the clinics. We include counseling, case management, and the Energy Pod. The Energy Pod does take reservations on Thursdays. So you can go online and make a reservation. It's 20 minutes of weightlessness. It's quite lovely. Let's see, all the services, probably the big takeaway here is all the services are free to students, house staff, and employees, and you can come as many times as you want. Even if it's a different topic, you can keep coming. Yes, there is a bit of a wait, and what I would recommend is go on the wellness website. You make your own appointments, which is kind of nice, 7 to 7, Monday through Friday. And you can see all of the psychotherapists, you can see all their times, all their open spaces. And if you find one that you like after reading their bio, but their spot isn't open, take a different spot just to start getting in. And from then you can just start, they'll help you to get onto a regular pattern of who you'd like to see, right? So that's really important. And getting there is on insiderush.rush/wellness. And so it's very easy to get to the site. We have 2 options for you if you want any counseling, and one is the one I've been talking about, 7 to 7, Monday through Friday, both telehealth and in person. You make your own appointments, so it's quite nice, and it is totally free. It's available only to the Rush community, so our students, faculty, staff, physicians groups. We also have partnered with an employee and student assistance program called ComPsych. And so that's outside of Rush. And what you would do is contact them. You can either do it through our website or through their phone. And to be able to go on, they have 24/7 availability. They will give you 5 free sessions before they refer you to your long-term provider. The unique thing is that it's also available to immediate family and significant others. So this is an amazing benefit that Rush offers. So please take advantage of it, whether there's stress, there's something coming up that you're concerned about, you're overwhelmed about things, just not feeling yourself. It's just, that's good enough to get there. All right. You don't have to feel like it has to be awful before you make an appointment. Try to take care of your health before it gets to that point. Have some guidance. If you go to the website, like I said, it's insiderush.rush.edu/wellness. You'll be able to make your appointments. You'll be able to see the library. You'll be able to see all the newsletters and any of the recordings that we've made. They're all on that site. So be able to get to that. Definitely been built around confidentiality and privacy, not only the design of it, but our documentation and the scheduling, all thinking about you with confidentiality and privacy. If you are not able to get an appointment and you're just not feeling yourself, that it's just not okay right now, and it's been a couple days and you're just very unsettled, what's really important to know is there is a 24/7 pager that's carried by a psychotherapist. The number is 852323 or 2323@page.rush.edu. And within an hour, you'll be talking to a psychotherapist. So this is really important to know that we do have your back when times are not okay, when you're just not feeling yourself and you just can't get in for an appointment. So please use that 852323, really important. And also for any of your colleagues or fellow students to just remind them that that is available to you. This, I think, is a very delightful benefit that we have a facilitated access program. And what that means is there are navigators that will help you get appointments sooner than soon. They do a great job kind of fitting you in, getting you in, or any students or staff. And so if you go to the phone number 94 staff or email facilitated access navigators, you'll be able to talk with one of them and get yourself into an appointment that you need to get sooner than later, which is good, especially if we put stuff off, right? And then just a couple of programs that we have. It's very important to know that there are a lot of things that are happening here, whether it's wellness talks or whether the benefit gives you all areas of Insight Timer. That's a really great app to put on your phone, and it's guided meditations, ways to relax after work, when you wake up in the morning. It's kind of like the Calm app that we had before. Now we have Insight Timer, and it's a full benefit for Rush students as well as employees. So take advantage, at least take a look in there. You can either get it off of this QR code, or you can go to our website and you'll see again the code to be able to get into that system and be able to use all sections of it. There's all of it would be free for you. If you are thinking about your career and want to bump up your career a little bit, you might want to take advantage of coaching for both physicians and nurses. That's a really nice option to be able to have, as well as we have wellness peer supporters. And I don't know if any of you are one of the supporters, but we have volunteers who have gone through mental health first aid, and they've become peer supporters, where they will offer time up, a half-hour time slot for you to meet up with them and talk about what's going on with you. And you actually have the ability to request whether it's from your area or not from your area, whether it's from Rush or one of the other hospitals within the Rush system. So it's just very nice to be able to know that you've got somebody that will listen, that's what they are there for. And they will support you in how you're feeling and maybe what your next steps could be. So think about taking advantage of that. So with that, we come to the end. And again, I want to appreciate you for coming and joining us this evening. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll be turning off the recording in just a moment and ending this session. And I hope to see you next month. Same time, same station. Oh, Natasha, wonderful. I'm glad that you're taking mental health first aid. We just had a group on Sunday, and it was a great group. So it's like mental health first aid, right? Instead of like CPR for your body, CPR for your mental health. So I'm glad you're doing it. Good job. I think there should be at least one person in every department or every section that has mental health first aid. I think that'd be good. Just nice to know how to respond when somebody's overwhelmed. Nice job, Katie. You did too. Oh, nice job. Good, good. Yeah. It does give you the words, right? That before you'd be afraid to approach somebody that you were concerned about, and it gives you the words and the way to do it. So I really like that. Great. All right. Well, I want to thank you. I'm going to close this session and turn off the recording. And if there is anything, please let me know. You can email the Wellness Center. Or if there was anything about the talk, both Bridget and Uvinia will be able to contact them. All right. Thanks again.